Hello, community, and welcome to another Keeping It Real with Dr. Anita podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Anita Polite Wilson, C-Suite Trusted Advisor, Board Director, and Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging Consultant, helping members of the C-Suite and their teams reframe diversity conversations from difficult to different. It's May, and I invite you to help me celebrate Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, which recognizes the contributions and accomplishments of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders to America's strength as a nation. These members of our society have a long and storied history in America, and their contributions are vast and varied. They've played a significant role in shaping the country's economy, culture, and politics, from building the Transcontinental Railroad to fighting for civil rights and advocating for social justice. Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders have made an enormous impact on America's history and will continue to do so today and in the future. By recognizing and celebrating Asian American and Pacific Islander History Month, organizations can create opportunities for cross-cultural learning and collaboration, foster a sense of community and belonging, and walk the talk of commitment to diversity, inclusion, and belonging. All of these can lead to greater understanding, allyship, and the prevention of egregious treatment of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in our communities and the workplaces. People from various Asian American and Pacific Islander communities have experienced exclusion and marginalization in the workplace. One of the most common and pervasive assumptions that people hold, which makes their lives and thinking easier, but always diminishes and makes invisible individual people, is the assumption that lumps all Asian Americans and Pacific Islander communities into one huge group, Asians. And it lets people think that they are thus all the same. This is a massive disservice to the cultural differences between, for example, Japanese people and Koreans or Samoans. This type of easy grouping that people do just simplifies what energy we may need to put into understanding the vast array of subcultures and nations that get lumped together into one large category of Asians. This may be akin to assuming that people from the Deep South are the same as people from Maine and Vermont, as well as those from Oregon and Washington. We may all be Americans, but there are still critically important and interesting subcultural values and norms, attitudes and beliefs that distinguish us from one another. A particularly harmful stereotype of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in school and in the workplace is the model minority myth. This has sometimes led to the assumptions that Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders are overrepresented in leadership roles because they are characterized as being quiet, hardworking, not known to make waves, and do not require support. However, this model minority myth has also caused Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders to be overlooked and their experiences with racism to be invalidated. Due to the model minority myth, they are often not seen as material for being good leaders because they are thought not to be assertive enough. Yet often when someone identifying as Asian American or Pacific Islander does speak up at work, their issues are trivialized, or they may be seen as disruptive, and then have to deal with someone's reaction to their non-traditional model minority behavior. There are many different ways that organizations can contribute to greater understanding of the varied Asian American and Pacific Islander lives that people are living, as well as their workplace experiences. A general approach, which I often refer to, is to learn to get comfortable with the discomfort of having new and different kinds of conversations with others. First, education and awareness about the similarities and differences between various Asian American and Pacific Island nations and subcultures can help create empathy and understanding. Second, addressing stereotypes and biases head-on is crucial to building bridges between cultures. Third, through active allyship, all employees can work together to support each other and promote inclusion in the workplace. Finally, companies can advocate for policies and programs that support the advancement and well-being of Asian American and Pacific Islander employees. To implement any of these suggestions I've just mentioned could include the establishment of mentorship programs, leadership development opportunities, or addressing pay inequities. Recognizing and implementing the need for diverse styles of management can create a more open, inclusive, and welcoming environment for everyone. Of course, I realize that what I've just shared is probably not news to you as a member of our community, but this seems like a great time to remind us about what we can do individually and collectively to honor the contributions of all Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. To be clear, these suggestions to increase a sense of belonging with our brothers and sisters of the Asian American and Pacific Islander communities are not at the exclusion of others in the workplace. Rather, it reinforces a concerted effort to build a bridge between groups of people who may identify as different outgroups, but for some reasons that are similar and for some reasons that are unique to each group. Most importantly, we must recognize that assumptions and limiting beliefs can be deeply ingrained and difficult to dispel. Therefore, it's crucial to approach these conversations with sensitivity, openness, and a willingness to learn and grow in community with one another. By working together to challenge our assumptions and limiting beliefs, we can create a more inclusive and equitable society for all. In this month's Real Conversation from the C-Suite, I'm joined by Ms. Jill Angel, Chief People Officer at TrueCar. Jill and I recently met at a dinner hosted for HR leaders in which I was the keynote speaker. In our first conversation with Jill, she's going to share with us the culture of belonging at TrueCar and how her passion for cultivating belonging in the workplace was ignited by her experiences growing up as an Asian American girl. In our second conversation with Jill, she's going to share some aha moments from a few weeks ago when she attended the dinner I just mentioned. Before my talk, Jill and I were chatting about a recent experience she had with one of her team members, who happens to be an African American woman, and our conversation was timely as it aligned with the topic of the evening, which was leading by unpacking the BS that inhibits belonging in the workplace. In that talk, I defined BS as people's backstories, bad stories, and blind spots that influence the organizational belief systems. Jill is going to share with us the thoughts she pondered before, during, and after I addressed the group. Finally, in our third conversation with Jill, we'll explore what kind of leader is most effective at balancing aspects of their own culture and belonging in the workplace. I'm looking forward to a very real conversation from the C-Suite with Ms. Jill Angel, Chief People Officer at TrueCar, and I hope you'll come back to join us. In the meantime, to learn more about my services and resources, please go to my website at drnita.com and remember to spell out the word doctor. While you're there, click the Keeping It Real podcast link at the top of the landing page to hear this show again or any past broadcasts. And find me on your favorite podcast player, so please get in the flow. Follow, like, and overshare with your network any of my Keeping It Real podcasts that helps you reframe diversity conversations from difficult to different. Until next time, this is Dr. Anita reminding you to stay blessed and keep it real.